Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where I've done a few changes to our construction queue off camera. Now, last episode we queued up all of our logging camps, and those are all still here. I've prioritized those. So all of these logging camps are here. I did cut down on our number of sulfur mines that we have queued up. I feel like it was a little too much. I cut down any sulfur mines that did not already have some progress put into them. So now we have this situation here, and so we have about 19 pages to work through. Now, paper is expensive, and so I do think that this is worth doing. The question is this much of it worth doing? Quite possibly the answer to that is no. But the logging camps will finish up quickly, and that should deal with at least the wood component being expensive. And paper is currently also expensive. We'll keep an eye on that. It'll drop somewhat, but I think this is more a paper production issue than a paper goods cost issue, is my theory. I haven't looked into that. We just got psychiatry. Cool. Minus 5% bureaucracy population cost modifier. I like it. So that does bump up our bureaucracy there. And we do want to work up our health system eventually. Baroda is improving relations. Okay, sure. So that seems reasonably fine. We're just going to work through these logging camps, and they do build quite quickly. So I'm not too concerned about that. The sulfur mines are going to be a little longer in terms of how long they take to build. And sulfur's not currently expensive. So there is that. How many sulfur mines did I actually end up canceling? That's an interesting question. Looks like somewhere around a third of them, a third to half, something like that. Okay, so that's noted. That'll be reasonably fine. We are going to be working our way through this slowly. We are going to finish up our reinforced concrete fairly soon, and we're going to be targeting steel frame buildings after that, which will almost certainly create issues in our steel and iron sectors. We should probably think about pre-building for that. But for the time being, that's not very profitable. Maybe if we were to just build iron mines, but for the moment, I don't think that's that big of a concern. I want to finish working through these logging camps, and they will finish up fairly quickly. Looks like this one is no longer able to be worked on. Okay, so that's noted. Presumably that's due to something happening in the private constructions. So we've got about 6 pages of logging camps here. We're working on a full page at a time. It's going to go fairly quickly. The sulfur mines, on the other hand, not so much. Let's see what happens with per capita taxation here. Bureaucratic imbroglio, huh? Yikes. We're just going to be mired in bureaucracy, and I'm going to cancel this. I would love to get per capita taxation to go in. Unfortunately, we didn't get there. We've had too many bad rolls in a row. We're going to give up on that. We'll come back to it later. Are there any other law changes we want to try to work on? I mean, we could go to interventionism or laissez-faire. I don't think that's that important. We could go to propertied women, but I don't think we want to lose our birth rate ratio right now. So for the moment, I think that's reasonably fine. We could, however, restrict child labor, and I think that would be a good thing. So we'll get to work on that. Nobody's going to be too upset about preserving child labor. So we're going to work on enacting restricted child labor. Hopefully that one will pass. And once that is done, then we'll eventually be able to work our way down to compulsory primary school. But we'll need human rights for that. That will help our literacy dramatically, but our literacy is already going up by a pretty decent margin. We don't need additional universities at this time. We'll keep an eye on that. So our logging camps are working away here. Excellent. And we've only got 4 pages of logging camps left. So we're making very good progress here. No doubt about that one. We are starting to hit some of these that are slightly lower in the construction efficiency, but it's not that bad down here. Only 11.9%. Yeah, that's not that bad. It could be better, for sure. But I think it's doable. We're down to 3 pages of logging camps. Excellent. So wood should no longer be expensive, and that is absolutely the case. We may need additional infrastructure here. We do. So we'll get that going. That does take a while to construct. But that is nicely underway. Checking in on our unemployment here, that number is increasing. So we really do want to increase our construction, but I don't think building additional construction sectors is the way to go there. I really do think that getting reinforced concrete into steel frame buildings is the way to go. So that'll be the idea here. Our logging camps are going to be finishing up relatively soon here. There's not that many left, only 2 pages. Beautiful. So child labor is going to tick past here, and we succeeded in the debate, so that's now at 17.5%. That's looking good. Cool. As I said, no one is really very opposed to this, so it'll be okay. Low radicalism on this, yeah, that's really not a concern. So what exactly does restricting child labor do? It increases the max education institution investment, and it will reduce dependent income, but it'll also reduce mortality. So that is excellent. Dangerous equipment, huh? We cannot put the brakes on the engines of progress. We've got a lot of unemployment. Mortality is not a terrible thing for us at this moment. It's not good, but it's not literally the worst thing we've ever seen. What is going on here? The North German Federation is attacking Sulu? Okay. Well, they can do that. That's fine. We're now done with most of our logging camps. 3 weeks until those are fully complete. Make that 2. And we're beginning work on those sulfur mines. Fantastic. So we can see the price of paper was not really very affected by this, and we're not shocked about that. We also just got mechanized workshops, which is interesting that we got that at the same time as reinforced concrete. I do want to make sure that we need to be in society here and grab steel frame buildings. 5 years out on that. That sounds good. And we should be seeing our construction go up quite a bit here. That's a good sign. I also want to get our additional production methods here. So canneries, we would get sewing machines, mechanized looms, mechanized workshops, and this is probably going to create some shortages for us in some categories. We could go down to nitroglycerin, and to be honest, I think we do go down to nitroglycerin. We'll have a lot of mortality from that, but like I said, at this moment, mortality is not the worst thing. We have decent pop growth as is. So I think that's reasonably fine. So we'll take that for now, and what shortages does that create? Explosives? And tools are expensive. Okay. I can't say I'm shocked about that one. So, we're going to want to create some additional chemical plants, I think. Chemical plants do not produce explosives right now. Are we lacking the tech for that, or do we just not have the ability to produce that? Chemical plants. Okay. Yeah, we want the ammonia soda process here. So, there we go. We'll get that producing. And we'll see if that makes the input goods shortage go away. It may take a little bit of time. I suspect it will not. Let's see here. 570 and 1.84K. Yeah, okay. So we're definitely going to need a few more of these. So how many more are we going to need in total? 40 per level. And we currently have a balance of 1.8, or actually of 1840, we'll call it, minus 570. That means we have a deficit of 1270. Divide that by 40, 31.75. So we need 32 of these. Okay. So where are we going to build them? Well, we're going to build them here for sure. And we're going to take this up to simply plus 32. I know that we have some of these others building, but I'm not too concerned about that. We'll need to expand this later on eventually. So we'll get that queued up. That is all queued up at the top here. So we're working on that for the moment. This railway does need to be top priority, though. So we'll get that finished. Cool. So that is actually done now. Any other infrastructure needed? Not for the moment. Okay. Now, tools are also expensive at the moment, as is paper. And we could definitely use a few additional tooling workshops. Do we do that right now? Probably not. Our law debate on child labor failed now, so we're just back down to our original level. That's a little bit sad, but that's fine, I guess. So, tools and paper, right? We definitely need some paper. We need some tooling workshops, and we're going to need these eventually. We're going to wait, though. What were those pop-ups? I was hitting escape to close this, and it closed the pop-up. I don't actually know what those were. Okay, that's exciting. We'll get back to that, I guess. Our chemical plants are going to be wrapping up in about 12 weeks, most of them. and then we'll be back to these sulfur mines. Now, chemical plants do take in sulfur, they take in coal, and they take in iron. So that is definitely noted. That is a good reason to continue to build these sulfur mines. What is our deficit of tools? So let's hop into our tooling workshops here. General staff is unlocked. That's very good for us. So looking at this, tools are a deficit of... Does this actually say? Yeah, market balance 4.43. And each one of these are how much? 80 per level. Okay, so pulling up a calculator here, 4.43k divided by 80 is 55 of these workshops that we would need. Okay, paper mills. How are we doing on our paper mill balance? Let's see here. There we go, tooltip. So we can see 6.2k. Each of these are producing 70. So 6.2k divided by 70 is approximately 89. So we need like 56 tooling workshops and 89 paper mills if we want to meet that deficit. So that's going to be some progress there, or rather a process. That's going to take some time, for sure. We've got about 6 weeks on these chemical plants. We'll get those underway. That is our top priority, of course, because we have the explosives input goods shortage. Then we should probably continue to work on the sulfur mines for a while. We're not running an input goods shortage, but this is going to increase our sulfur by quite a bit. Now, tools don't use sulfur, if I recall correctly. Correct. They use coal, wood, and steel. Fair enough. But paper mills do use sulfur. And we know we need like 70 of these. So that's going to be a thing. That'll take some time. We'll let these chemical plants finish up, and there's unavoidable injuries here. Children aren't coming back, so they better get used to it. Yeah, that'll give us some enactment success chance, but it's not great, to be sure. So we're working on these sulfur mines here. And yeah, explosives are much better now. We do have some market access issues here, which is unsurprising. We need 3 levels of railway in Shandong. There we go. We'll get that underway. And that'll continue to be a problem until these railways finish up. But the sulfur mines are being worked on. How many pages of sulfur mines do we have queued up right now? 11? Well, really 10. Really about 10 pages. So that's not so bad. These are taking, in total, about 15 weeks to build. Yeah, that's reasonably doable. So that seems fine. Our unemployment is 12.2 million, so that's still creeping upward. Noted. So we certainly do need to grab that steel frame buildings as soon as we can. Apparently there's a revolution to enact wage subsidies. It's not a real revolution. It's going to cap out at 50. This is only the trade unions that are interested in this. So for the moment, we're not that keen on doing anything about that. We want to enact restricted child labor, and surely the trade unions are in favor of that, right? Apparently not. Italy wants us to enter their customs union. We decline. We want our own customs union. Absolutely. We decline that one. Our sulfur mines are finishing up. Well, some of them are anyway. We've got a lot of sulfur mines queued up here, but we should have some of these finishing roughly weekly. The wage subsidies has disbanded, so this is now ticking down. Missionary works in Xiaozhou. We do not want their foreign faith. So they're out of here. Fantastic. Our chemical plants are finishing up now. Well, as soon as this week tick ends anyway. There we go. Cool. So that's looking fine. We do have this fertilizer unproductive trade route, and we can definitely get rid of that. Happily. We have some market access issues, and we should deal with these. Okay, so this is giving us plus 60. This is 57 right now, so that'll do for the moment. We are going to need 2 in Xi'an, so we'll get that going. We have a bunch more sulfur mines being built, of course. No shockers here. That'll take some time to work our way through. But I do want to start working on tooling workshops. The US is improving relations with us, and we're up to a 30% chance to enact restricted child labor, so that's a good sign. Railways in Shandong finishing up now. Cool. And we've got a bunch of sulfur mines still queued up here. About 9 pages of them. So sulfur mines are a little on the slow side to build. But I do want to start working on some of our tooling workshops. This is probably going to stretch our steel production, which is good. We want that to happen because we need to expand our steel production anyway for steel frame buildings. The steel frame buildings are going to cause us some issues on that front, I believe. So, tooling workshops. Where do we want to build these? Well, we want to build in Beijing for sure. I want to max this out for, let's see here. This would be taking us up to 40. Yes. I want to max this out for economy of scale. So we want to have 22 here. There we go. And then here we want to do the same thing. So this brings us to 30, and so we'd want to be at 27 here. For now, that's all we'll do, and we are going to work through these tooling workshops. I do want to get these railways top priority. The sulfur mines are kind of a little bit lower priority. The tooling workshops take a while to build. So we'll get that going. That will be necessary. We will definitely need tools, and we're going to need to bump up our steel production as well, going into steel frame buildings. Because if we look at this, that gives us 20 tools, 40 glass, 50 steel, and 10 explosives per level. So that's going to be quite a lot that we need. We can mostly work on that when we get there, though. Our primary purpose here behind doing this is... Really, wood is back to being expensive? That surprises me a little bit, considering we just maxed out our wood production. Okay, apparently wood is back to being expensive. I want to actually look at this. Didn't even affect it in the market price. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Just checking through here. Mostly it's pop needs. From laborers. Okay. That is the majority of it. We can definitely import some wood. That wouldn't be the worst of ideas. So I suppose we can import some of that. But we've already maxed out our wood production, so for the moment that's as good as it's going to get. Is there any tech that we can get to increase our wood production? I want to check here. Yeah, we can definitely increase our wood production via tech. Okay, so that's good to know. We're going to be finishing up about half of these tooling workshops, right? Yeah, approximately half of them here in 7 weeks. A little under, maybe like 40%. This is going to require additional wood, so that's a potential issue there. We'll keep that in mind. And we definitely do need to continue to work on our taxation capacity. This trade route is apparently unproductive. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Up to 38% there. I like it. So that's looking solid. We can't take up our educational institution level yet, and I think that we want that over the health system. So we'll just wait on restricted child labor to pass. That is the goal there. This war is irrelevant to us. We're going to declare neutrality in that one. That looks good. And this is going to take us about... How much longer to get this all done? 20 weeks? Okay, cool. So we're working on our sulfur mines in the background at this point, and our tooling workshops are all being worked on. I love it. This is looking good. A lot of sulfur mines are now being built. Of course, the sulfur mines aren't exactly iron mines, and we're going to need iron mines eventually. There's a lot of sulfur mines still in here. No doubt about that. Too many? Possibly. We'll probably want them eventually, though. So this is looking fine. We're going to continue to work on steel frame buildings. We did increase our construction by a decent chunk there. So that's looking solid. We're making progress on all of these. And we're doing fine financially. Can we think about cutting our taxes? We would run a deficit doing this. We could consider dropping our services tax. That would be a lot, for sure. I would like to start dropping taxes at some point. But I feel like we're not quite there yet. We're mostly about 6 to 7 weeks away from finishing our tooling workshops, so that'll be fine. The play for power, huh? Armed forces gaining political strength sounds good to me. So that seems okay. Do we get restricted child labor passed here? That's the major question. We've got 10 days until that checkpoint. Let's find out. 2, 1, and law stalled. Sad. Okay. Well, it's going to continue to take a bit. We're having mixed results here. It's mostly been positive, though. Tooling workshops finishing up as of right now. North German Federation wants a defensive pact. I'm not interested in an alliance with them, but I think a defensive pact is not a bad idea here. So we'll do that. Sulfur mines are continuing to be worked on, and I mean, there's a lot of them here. We've got about 7 pages of them. That said, we are working on nearly a page and a half at a time. So we're definitely making solid progress on that. Our GDP is continuing to climb. Our literacy is continuing to climb. Our population is climbing. Our radicalism is also climbing. Not necessarily the greatest of things, but that is due to our standard of living kind of flagging a little bit. And the standard of living is probably flagging due to the mortality issues, isn't it? I'm not sure what all goes into the standard of living calculation. It governs birth rate and mortality. So yeah, it's due to our mortality issues. That's why this is dropping off. Because we decided to go for some extra mortality. Okay. The Japanese shogunate is damaging relations. Cool. For the moment, I'm not concerned about the Japanese shogunate. I want to get these sulfur mines built. And we are starting to run into some issues over here where construction efficiency is a little lower. But we're going to be through that fairly quickly still. It's only an 11% malice. I'm not that concerned about it. That said, we are building almost entirely there right now. In fact, literally entirely there right now. Okay. We'll be done with that pretty soon, though. I'm not too concerned. Dropping taxes would definitely be beneficial for us. Perhaps we just drop our porcelain consumption tax. That said, we have plenty of authority. I'm not really all that concerned. I would rather drop our regular taxation here. But we'll see if we manage to get restricted child labor passed here. Only a 23% chance, but eventually it'll pass, right? Nobody's that opposed to this. The Emperor has intervened. Cool. So that brings us up to 43%. That's always a good sign when the Emperor intervenes. We do have some turmoil brewing up there. No shockers there. We also have need of some additional infrastructure. So we're building 1 here. We should build 2. We should build 2 here. And we should build at least 3 here. I built 4, but we'll get 3 queued up there. Cool. So that's underway. These sulfur mines are still building. And they're not that far out from finishing. That's looking very solid. I do want to get that all built. And wood is still considered expensive. I would like to import more. And in fact, we could from the North German market and the Sulu market. So we'll do that. Hopefully those will grow to decent levels. But our sulfur mines are going to be a bit of an issue going forward, eventually. Right? Like, we're going to need these sulfur mines, but this is overbuilding them. 100%. 100% this is overbuilding them. I want to check in on our balance of tooling. How is that going? So if we check in here, we can look at our tools and see we're still running a balance of minus 2.47k. Noted. But this is better than it was. The only thing that's really expensive right now is wood. I don't think we need to do too much into that at this moment. So I think we're better off getting these railways done, for sure. That is a high priority. Which those are not that far out. The sulfur mines are really a back burner sort of thing. But there's not that many of them left. I would like to continue to work on our bureaucracy. I really want this child labor to pass. That's what we're really waiting on at this moment. Fingers crossed that it passes here. Hopefully it will. The literati are not okay with what's going on, but whatever. I'm sure they'll be fine. 3 weeks on these railways. 6 weeks on these railways. It's all looking good. In theory. It's all looking good in theory. Yeah, these railways are 11.6% reduction. Sad. I want to check in. How's the U.S. doing? Oh, the law debate failed here? That's very sad. We've got some nihilism brewing up here. We'll ban nihilist literature. Okay. So, I was taking a look at the progress of the U.S. over here. They really need to fight Mexico. Okay. Cool. So GDP-wise, we're still #1 worldwide and continuing to grow. That is looking good. I want to check in on our infrastructure here. This is going to take some time to make its way up in terms of population. I want to check here. Yeah, we're going to need to expand that railway. Okay, that seems fine. Next, what do we want to work on? Iron mines. Iron mines are going to be necessary almost for sure. The sulfur mines are going to be done eventually. We could definitely work on government administrations. For a bit anyway. These are 15 taxation capacity each. So we would do something like this. We don't need 3 here. Technically, we only need 2. We'll need 3 eventually. But we've also got all of these queued up down below. So I'm not going to be too heavy on the construction of the government administrations. We're just going to do upkeep here for right now. And the sulfur mines are going to be done quite soon, actually. We've only got 4 pages of them left. We now see the barracks popping into page 4. So that's good. How are we doing on that steel frame building? We're 17 months out from that. So we're going to have issues when steel frame buildings come in, right? Guaranteed. But I think for now, this is fine. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to get steel frame buildings. We're going to need to increase our steel and iron production, possibly our coal production. It's going to be a whole thing. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadowwolf, Emlohan80, Rogue Corvid, Kentogan, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Anna the Elephant, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.